ladies. Well, good
Nice
morning
to
to you.
see you. So, Mr. Hiett Ives, what time are you presenting? Was it 6 a.m. today?
Yes. Well, 7 a.m. It was 7 a.m. my time. And then, in fact, I presented this presentation that we're going to be looking at today. And then I had your session, and then I went to a press conference to announce a new movie, and now I'm back to repeat your presentation that I did this morning.
All right. The man's gone full circle. I love it. How was it received this morning?
Very well. In fact, some of the feedback that I got from it is going to be incorporated in what I cover this afternoon.
That's wonderful. Before I get over to you, Mariska, I just wanted to say it's interesting about feedback. I think sometimes people are afraid of getting feedback. They're afraid of hearing what other people have to say, or maybe whatever they delivered wasn't exactly what the other person wanted to hear or wasn't expecting to hear. But when we get the feedback, we can make whatever we're doing even more targeted for our audience. So it's really valuable.
Absolutely. In fact, one of my best friends, who was actually the other speaker this morning, called me afterwards and gave me some input.
Excellent. All right. Thank you so much. Mariska, how are things going in New Zealand?
Good. We're getting into spring, so a little bit lighter dressed, as you can see. Feeling the spring air, and so is my cats. They're running all over the house like mad things.
How many cats do you have?
3. And they are all housebound because I have one that loves roaming outside, but he has a tendency to go for day to week walks, and then I don't know where he is, so I get worried. So now he is not allowed to go out of the house except if he is on his lead, so like a dog, and then he can walk outside, because then I can bring him back when we're finished.
That sounds smart, because obviously you really care about your cat. And
yeah, I don't want him to get lost and not come back. That's horrible.
And Hiett's in a cat house as well. I mean, not cat house, but
No, you are absolutely correct. My wife has not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7.
7 cats.
Yes.
That's 10 cats between the two of you. That's amazing.
Wow, 7 is a lot. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do 7.
Yeah. I don't know cat from spat. I couldn't tell you which is which. We've got 3 or 4 blacks and 3 or 4 black and white ones, but I tolerate them.
All right, we'll save that for another show. Okay. So today we are really looking forward to hearing both of your presentations. Before we begin, as always, I'm going to spotlight you. And for people joining us for the first time, which our audience keeps growing and growing, Mariska, tell people what it is you do and the value that you're going to bring today to our audience.
Okay, so I am a transition and career coach, and I help people when they are moving from career or from one company to another company, or within the leadership space. So they might go up a level or 2. So that's normally where I help people out. And the thing that we're going to look at today is mindset and our being. So how we are showing up and how our mindset, changing the way that we think, can change the way that we show up. So that is what I will be sharing with our audience today.
Thank you so much. Who else have you helped?
Who else have I helped? I have helped you.
Yay! Yes, Mariska was my coach through a very career changing time. Everything was changing. And I worked with Mariska for about 9 months to come up with plans A, B, and C to leave my corporate career and go out on my own. And Mariska knows what she's doing. I highly recommend that you reach out to her for your transformation into the journey that you really were meant to be on, the one that you find your passion and your drive. So thank you again, Mariska. Mr. Hiett Ives, please tell our audience about you, the work that you do, and the value you'll bring here today.
I do business to business marketing communications, and I specialize in business to business trade show marketing communications. And today we are going to look, well, of course, trade shows have been dead for 18 months. They are coming back, and I am going to cover a approach of that, and Mariska is going to follow up with it, of going to a trade show under false pretenses.
Ooh, sounds very interesting.
And how to do it and get away with it.
Okay. That's a cliffhanger. Beautiful. All right. And Hiett, I understand that you are going to go first today. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. And I will tell your audience that I've got, I work off of a slide deck, but for some reason I'm not able to get it through, and I can't get it onto the screen that I'm looking into. So if you see me looking off to the side a little bit, it's because I'm following my script.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. Mariska and I are going backstage. Have a great lesson.
And give me the 12 minutes. I hope it'll come up on here, but I will also time myself. All right. Today we are going to look at the delegate as salespeople, and what to do when how not to be thrown out of a trade show. Let's face it, all of us have had the situation where we have gone to a trade show ostensibly as a delegate, ostensibly as a client or a prospect for the exhibitors at the show, when in fact we want to be a salesperson and we want to sell the exhibitors our product and service. Raise your hand if you've done that, and I think we all have. So what I'm going to do today is show you how to visit a trade show as a delegate and not get thrown off the floor as a salesperson. What do booth staff not want to see? When you are staffing a booth, who is the last person you want to see? And that is, of course, a salesperson of any kind. Let's face it, folks, the people that have a booth have paid good money. They have paid it, or their company has paid good money for them to see and interface with delegates, with the intent of finding out which of those delegates is a good prospect for their company. So when they have that as their reason for being there, how welcoming are they likely to be of you coming up trying to sell them something? It's not likely to happen. In fact, you can and should be thrown off the trade show floor. You as a delegate are there to hear them. Now, I will tell you a situation where I was staffing a booth, and it was a NCAP booth in Long Isle, and I saw this person coming up the aisle, stopping booth by booth, and he had a pile of magazines, and he was trying to sell the exhibitors on subscribing to his industry magazine. Well, the show office was nearby, and I went to the show office, got the show manager, and brought him to my booth and said, watch what he's doing. And when he got to our booth, the show management threw him out of the show. So, what can you do to not have that happen to you? Well, on the trade show floor, the first thing you need to do is have a different mindset. You need to take off your salesman uniform and put on your receiver uniform, your information gatherer uniform. That's what you need to be doing at the show rather than selling yourself. And how are you going to do that? Well, once you change the mindset from I'm going there to sell my products or service, I'm going to go sell my left-handed widgets. I know there are 4 or 5 companies exhibiting in this show that utilize left-handed widgets as part of their operation. So I'm going to go introduce my left-handed widget to them and show them why they should be working with me. What you instead want to do is find out who the person is that is responsible for left-handed widgets, and then ask for them. When you go up to a booth and set appointments with them and then leave the booth, you want to go in, identify the person that you need to talk to. If they're there, set the appointment. If they're not there, get contact information on them, and then leave the booth. Period. End of statement. But, you say, well, here's the deal. When you approach the booth, you want to have done your homework. So you know that it's an operations person. It's the head of operations that you need to be talking to. That's the decision maker relative to your left-handed widget. So depending on the amount of homework you've done on the companies, you're going to walk up to the booth and say, is Joe Watkins your head of operations at this show? Or is Susie Smith at the show? Or is your director of operations at the show? So you identify, you ask for the person as either as a specific person or as a specific position holder. If they are not at the show, you ask for their contact information. What's the best email address to use? What's the best phone number to use? Who is it, if you don't already know? So you get that information, you say thank you, and you leave. You don't leave any collateral material. You don't leave any sales material. You simply get the information on the person and leave. Now, if they happen to be at the show, if you walk up to somebody, one of the salespeople at the show, and say, is your director of operations at the show? Yeah, he is. That's him right over there. Will you introduce me to him? Now, here's a key thing. You, rather than say thank you and walk over there yourself and be a cold call on that person, if you say, would you take me over and introduce me? That person is your buffer, if you will. If that person takes you over to the head of operations and introduces you, then the head of operation knows that that person has basically vetted you, has said this isn't somebody that is going to do you harm or that you ought not to be with. So if they will agree to take you over and introduce you, have them do that. If they say, well, that's him over there, you can, and things are busy, and I can't introduce you, just go over there and tell him Sue told you to call him, talk to him. So you then go over to him or her, and here's what you might do. You go up to them and you introduce yourself something like this. Hello, I'm Hiett Ives, and I appreciate your goal at this show is to interact with delegates. There's a product that that could be very beneficial to your operation, and I'd like to share that with you in the very near future. When next week, or tomorrow, or later on today, when is a good time for us to get together, or for me to get back to you? You want to try to set the appointment. So, when is a good time for us to get together? And then set an appointment. If things are busy and they don't have their calendar with them or whatever, when's a good time for me to get back to you? And then once you've done that, you leave the booth. You set the appointment and leave the booth. You don't leave them collateral material. You might give them your card, but you don't try to sell them anything at all. You tease them, if you will, that you represent a product that can be very beneficial to their operation, and you'd like to share it with them in the very near future. I realize that this isn't the venue for me to be talking to you about selling you something. You're just saying that in a nicer way, if you will. And then you leave the booth. Now, when is the only time you can stay in the booth? The only time you're allowed to stay is when the person you're talking to invites you to do so. Let's say the show is rather slow at this particular time, and they say, "Look, I've got a few minutes. Let's go have a cup of coffee, or give me a little bit of your presentation. Tell me, I've got some time. Let me hear what you've got to say." And here's where you have to do two things. You have to be very, very brief, and you have to be in a gathering mode. Rather than tell them about your product or service, ask them open-ended questions about their use of your product or service. You're looking to sell them left-handed widgets. How many left-handed widgets do you order a year? When you're ordering left-handed widgets, which is the key quality? Is it price? Is it quality, or is it speed of delivery? Who is your current left-handed widget supplier? So you ask open-ended questions that enable you to provide them a much fuller presentation when you get back with them, and they've told you that quality is their keynote and key thing, and then they order 10,000 a month, and whatever information you gathered from them that is crucial to giving them the type of proposal that they need, so you've again made it about them, all about them. So you can also do this in the educational sessions. If you're going to any of the educational sessions, when you're talking to people, ask them what they do. Ask them what their applications might be for left-handed widgets. Also, when you go to eat, there are the eating areas where they have the in-house booths for pizza and all those kind of good things that I have had some excellent conversations with people in that relaxed environment. So those are the key elements of going to a trade show where you want to sell your product or service to the exhibiting companies. As long as you go in asking information rather than selling, and simply going in there to get the appointments for the presentation and getting as much information about the company, even if the person that you're looking for isn't there, you might ask whoever you're talking with some of the key open-ended questions that they might not know in as great a detail, but might very well be able to help you with. So those are the ways that you as a delegate / salesperson can go to a show and come away with excellent prospects for your product or service. With that, I return control to Dr. Jacalyn.
Thank you, Mr. Ives. I appreciate that. Do you want to just give your contact information? We'll do it again later, but how can people reach you and who should reach out to you for more information on this?
Hiett, Hiett, at Hiett Ives, HIETTIVES.com, Hiett at HiettIves.com, 832-372-6900, 832-372-6900. And those of you who are doing trade shows and want to do them better, I have a trade show lead guarantee. You use my products and services, and I will guarantee you qualified leads from any business-to-business trade show.
Right, I like it. Thank you. I've been to a number of trade shows when I was in my corporate career, and I have to admit there were times that I went as a salesperson and was trying to sell. And let me tell you something, you find out right away, you are not welcome. This is not the place to be selling and pitching. And you can get a reputation that, people don't want to work with you because you're not following what the protocols are. So well done, Hiett. Mariska, what feedback do you have for Hiett?
Well, that mindset. And I loved the analogy that Hiett used of the jacket. So taking your sales jacket off and putting your information jacket on. That is very useful to remember what jacket you are wearing when you are in that environment. So I thought that was really good. And being prepared with all those questions. I thought that was also something that is helpful for us to keep in mind what it is that we're going to do when we're there.
We've heard the analogy, and it was given to me in my feedback this morning. You go as a gatherer, not a hunter.
Very good.
You go as a gatherer, not a hunter.
And I'll ask the two of you, can you remember a time, maybe the first time that someone came up to offer you information and you were actually shocked, like, okay, when's the pitch coming? When are they going to try to close me or something? And they didn't. And you remember that and thought, wow, what a great experience. And you remembered that person who gave that experience to you. Yep.
Yeah, they're few and far between, and you do remember them.
Yes, you do. All right, great job, Hiett. Mariska, we are going to take a break before we come back to your presentation, and then we will go gung-ho listening to what you have to present, and then Hiett and I will come back and give some feedback, okay?
Yep.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back after this break.
Hey everybody, my name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'm the host of the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, and I want to invite you to pick up my book, Unstoppable. I wrote a book called Unstoppable. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. The one thing that my 20 years of law enforcement has taught me is that no matter who you are, we are all governed by universal laws, like gravity. But in this book, we're going to talk about laws like the law of forgiveness, laws like the law of control, the law of intelligent practice, the law of expectancy. I was able to see how those, no matter what their background was, those who identified and treated these laws with respect, they were able to go on and lead successful lives. So pick up this book, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, RalphGravesJr.com, where anywhere where fine books are sold. Thank you.
There are 7.7 billion people on Earth today. 40% of these people are under the age of 25. Young adults are the most fertile mission field in the world today. In Scripture, we see Jesus pouring his life into 12 young adults who he equipped to change the world and all of history. Like Jesus, we believe that the best approach to reach the world with the gospel is to invest in young, emerging leaders and equip them to build disciple-making movements. Concentric is the notion of surrounding and sharing a common center. Our center is the model and strategy of Jesus for both leadership development and ministry formation. As a global alliance, we provide equipping in biblical leadership based on Jesus' example in the New Testament. Jesus modeled for us how to make disciples that reproduce. Focusing on leadership development is key to creating movements that spread the gospel and Jesus' disciple-making strategy to young leaders around the globe. Our ministry alliance partners are actively equipping leaders and building movements of multiplication that reproduce the life of Christ. Join us today to equip young leaders with Jesus' strategy that will change cities and nations.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Academy Sedan and Limo is a full-service transportation company serving the Philadelphia metropolitan area with full knowledge of the New York City, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. areas. We pride ourselves on being the most dependable, conscientious company in the industry. Our always on-time service and dependable pricing make us the company to call for any event or occasion. Our vehicles can accommodate any size party for any occasion. Our vehicles range from four-door sedans to SUVs to minivans to limo buses to full-size tour buses and can accommodate groups of 2 to 100. We offer airport shuttle service or over-the-road service without limitation regarding mileage or time, and no drive is too long or too far. So if you find yourself in need of transportation of any type with any vehicle, give us a call at 610-842-4564 and let us show you what a real transportation company can do for you.
Use code ACADEMY2020 to receive 20% off your first 3 rides, including parking and tolls.
Welcome back to USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. You are watching or listening the Talking Heads program. With me today, our experts are Mariska Duprier and Hiett Ives. In our first segment, Hiett gave us his presentation on how we don't want to go negative, but if you want to go to a trade show in a sales role, you must go as a delegate, just providing information, not selling anything, not leaving any collateral, not pushing you on them, trying to set the appointment so that you can come back and meet with them at a later time. How'd I do, Hiett?
Absolutely fantastic.
All right. Thank you. All right, and now Mariska is going to present, and Hiett and I will go backstage. Mariska, here is your deck.
Thank you. Can I also have the timer, please?
Yes, absolutely. Here you go.
Yay. Okay. So today we are talking about mindset and our being, and Hiett gave us a little bit about that already. We are going to go a little bit more in depth with this. And the reason I took the snowflake, as you guys can see, those that can see, is snowflakes are very unique. Each and every one of them are different. Now, unlike snowflakes, so we are, each and every one, very different, the same as a snowflake, but unlike a snowflake, we can change. So a snowflake, if it is frozen, it is literally frozen. It's not going to change its shape. We are human beings, and luckily for us, we can change our shape. So for today, we will be looking at the intentions. Who am I being in the situation that I am in? And then taking some action. So when we think about intention, first we need to evaluate the situation that we might be going into, such as a trade show. Our normal function, it might be that I am a salesperson normally, but I am going to the trade show as a delegate. So who do I want to be going to this trade show? I want to be a researcher because I want to see what is possible within the people that is at the trade show that might be able to utilize my service, but I do not want to sell my service at the trade show. So I want to be a researcher. So that's what I want to be. Why is this, or what about this is important to me? There we might think about the aspects around it that we might learn from. So what elements of what I provide might be useful to my client or my customer, and really dig into their needs and what it is that they are looking for. And then think about what this looks like and how I can behave or act for others to see me being this way. So what behaviors and actions am I going to take in order for other people to see me as doing some research and not necessarily as being a salesperson and wanting to sell them something when actually they have paid a lot of money to have their own booth. So once we've established our intention on where we are going, and this can be applicable whether you are going to a trade show, normally being a salesperson and going in a research capacity, or this might be in your social life or even in your work life where you need to step into a different role or a different way of being that you are not necessarily normally occupying or normally used to doing. So this can take a lot of different forms, but the process sort of stays the same. So next thing that we think about is, who am I being? Now for us, when we think about ourselves, normally the way that we are, we don't dissect too much. But when we look at it and really start to pull them apart a little bit, we will see that my thinking and my mindset, my values and my beliefs form the base of who I am. Now, when we act out in the world, we take all of these base things with us. So my values, my beliefs, and the way that I think about things, I bring into each and every situation with me, because that is part of my base, right? Now, in different situations, I will utilize different aspects of it. And this is where my mindset and my thinking comes in. So when I'm in a sales conversation, I am going to behave in a certain way in order for me to be able to close that sale. When I'm thinking about it in a research and information gathering situation, I'm going to use different strategies and behaviors that might still have the base of the values and beliefs and mindset that I have. So thinking about what it is that I want to achieve within this specific situation or conversation, and what I will do, what I will say, and how this will show up for other people, as well as how I'm going to treat the other person. And when I think about those things, I might have a different mental model that I utilize within my thinking for a specific task that I want to do. So this is around who I am being and how that sort of fits into each other. Then we think about our action steps, because yes, now we know how our thinking is going to impact all of this, and how our mindset and the mental models that we are using impacts the way that we're going to react. But we also need a little bit of a plan, especially if this is something that we haven't done before, or it is not part of our normal, everyday way of going about business. So an easy way for us to get used to a little bit more of the how to be in the way that we want to show up in that specific situation. Let's do a little bit of pre-planning. So thinking around how I want to show up, what qualities I want to exhibit while I'm in that environment, how that is going to be perceived by other people and how they will receive it. So doing a little bit of planning, and then doing a little bit of preparation. So this might be writing out all the questions that you are going to be asking at the trade show during your information gathering process. Some of it might be just going and looking at how people gather information, if this is not something that you've done before. So looking at those different elements of it and preparing, and then of course having some practice, because as you all know, the more we practice something, the easier it becomes. So if I'm normally in a sales position, it's easy for me to sell, and it's almost like I automatically fall into it because I'm so used to doing it. Gathering information, however, might not be so easy for me because it's not something that I normally do. So when I practice what I planned and what I prepared, and I actually practice this a little bit, friends and family are great for practicing, or if you don't want to practice with your friends and family, you definitely can use your mirror and just look at yourself. So doing some practice that enables us to just get a little bit more comfortable with what we're doing and how we're doing it will help us to, when we go to the trade show and now start to gather information, not necessarily fall into the, oh, now I'm in a sales sort of situation. It also enables us to remember to go only gather the information and give our information, contact information, and do that little preparation for having an appointment. So really taking leadership in that area to make sure that we have an appointment set up that would help the person that we talk to actually get hold of us, and we have something specific set up for them. This will also, of course, help us to function better when we have that sales conversation. So those are a couple of things to keep in mind whenever we are going into a situation that might not be a situation that we are normally in. And of course, I have the 3 questions towards the end, just to sort of sum up the key elements to keep in mind. So who do I want to be in this moment? So for this specific situation that I'm going in, who do I want to be in the moment? And then how will I think or behave within this situation and this space to show that I am being this person? And what's my next step? So what's my plan? What's my preparation? What's my practice that I would need to do in order to help me do what I intend in the situation? And then, if you would like any more information on mindset or transforming from one type of being to another, you are more than welcome to contact me at mariska@journeytodiscover.com. And the 2 in Journey to Discover is the number 2. You can also find me on LinkedIn.
Does it feel like forever until I bring us back onto this screen when you're there by yourself? That's why I was like, is she coming back? Where did she go? I'm right here. It's just trying to get the button. So nice job. Nice job. I love how you guys tag teamed off of each other once again. That was really wonderful. Hiett, I was watching. You looked very engaged during the presentation. What feedback do you have for Mariska?
Well, I liked her approach of different mental models for the task at hand. And, the 3 things, the planning, preparing, and practice for and the information gathering questions. Who do you want to be? How am I going to behave? And what do I do next? She laid it out very nicely. Well done.
That's what she does. She explains things very simple and easy to understand, and yet full of wonderful gems. So thank you, Mariska.
Well, I do try to make it as easy as possible to apply it. I mean, that's what we do in life, right? We have all these weird and wonderful philosophical things that come up, and people try to explain it to you, but how do I actually apply it in my life? So I like to be able to make it easy for us to apply.
And you certainly did that. Nice job, both of you. As we round up the show for today is September the 16th, and I had committed to our team members as well as others that we have a phenomenal brochure, a very robust brochure, USA Global TV and Talking Heads, and I will be sending that out. I'm working till 9:20 tonight, so I will be sending that out in the morning in between shows. So if you're interested in being a talking head, or you're interested in having a role in USA Global TV, do reach out and I can share the brochure with you. You can reach me by emailing me. You find my banner. It's Jacalyn@drjacalyn.com. Okay. Before we go, I would just like to ask each of you to share with our audience. This is not scripted, just putting you on the spot. What is the value that you find in presenting? Why do you keep coming back? What does it mean to you? Mariska.
Ooh, okay. What it means to me, let's see. Firstly, I grow and I learn every time I present. For me, the preparation part of the presentation, being able to engage with the material that I am presenting, refamiliarizing myself sometimes with some of the things that I forgot about, which is really great too. So that part of the process, as well as then coming on the show, and I find it so fascinating because I remember the first time I was on the show, I had butterflies in my tummy, and today I have butterflies in my tummy. For some odd reason, they don't go away. I am a lot more comfortable with my butterflies, and I won't say that I've named them yet, but I am getting more familiar with them. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be able to do this. So thank you, Dr. Jacalyn, and that's the value that I get from it.
Thank you, Mariska. That was lovely. I appreciate it. How about you, Hiett?
Well, two things. One, Mariska, you can get your butterflies flying in formation now. And the two things that I get out of it most are, one, it sharpens my knowledge and skills within the discipline that I'm working, because I have to research it. And even if I'm not researching it as new material, I'm researching it to make sure I'm up to date on what is happening. And the presenting it strengthens it within my own persona, so that when I have to do something extemporaneously or off the top of my head, it comes a whole lot easier, and it comes with a lot more facts, because I am, literally week by week researching this material and smoothing it out and updating it and putting it into practice.
Thank you, Hiett. And I've mentioned this before, but I'm so proud of both of you. You're obviously already professionals, but I've just watched the growth and the progression, and how you're always interested in learning, and yet you always want to give back. So they're wonderful attributes to have, and I'm really proud of both of you and glad that you're here. So thank you.
Our
Thank
pleasure.
you.
My pleasure.
All right. Well, that is our show for today, folks. Coming up after this is moi doing a guided meditation for 8 minutes. So if you'd like to join me on the Listening Mentor, which is in 11 plus minutes, that's what I will be doing, leading us through a sound meditation. And that's it. So last thing, I'm going to ask you guys to give your contact information again. Mariska.
Okay, so contact information is Mariska at journeytodiscover.com. Spelling, seeing as some of those words can be a little bit tricky. Mariska, Mariska, at journey, JOURNEY, to the number, discover, DISCOVER.com.
Ding, 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 ding. You get the spelling prize. Nice job. And I had Hiett's thing going across. That's a nice production blooper. Okay, Hiett, I'm going to spotlight you. I'll put Mariska's information up now. Hiett, what's the best way for people to reach you?
Hiett at hiettives.com, and that's HIETT at HIETTIVES.com. 832-372-6900, 832-372-6900, and you can find me on LinkedIn as well.
All right, thank you both. I was just laughing about the production blooper. Okay, we look forward to having you back tomorrow. I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shows tomorrow. 10 shows, folks. Whew. All right. I will get some sleep over the weekend. But until then, it's go, 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 bringing more shows and more information and more people's stories forth. So thank you for giving us the ability to do that, for being the audience that you are. Thank you to our wonderful presenters. We will see you back here in just over 10 minutes for the guided meditation. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.